When you don't have these three things established and they're not clear to you and her, your relationship will always have problems. I'm going to talk to you about 3 non-negotiables that you want to have already established before you get into a relationship. Because once you understand what these 3 things are and you establish them and you actually stand on them, it will make your relationship or your marriage that much better because there's some type of standard. So what are those 3 things? Those 3 things, number 1 is a vision. A vision. What is your vision for your relationship? Whether you're in a relationship right now, you're wanting to get into a serious relationship, or you're wanting to get married, what is your actual vision? When you have a vision, you have a guideline of what you actually envision. What do you want? What does it look like? What does your relationship actually look like? What does your marriage actually looks like? Because if you don't have a vision and she does, her vision is going to override your vision. And you're going to be confused wondering, well, this is what I thought the relationship was supposed to be about. I thought it was going to go this way. I thought this, I thought that. You thought wrong because you didn't have a vision of what you wanted and what you expected, but she does. So that's very important. Have that vision and communicate that with her. Communicate, this is what I see in our future in a relationship or when we're married. This is what I see. Let her know what your vision is. Let her know what your vision is. And see if her vision, if she has one, if it matches up with yours. You have to make sure that she understands it and it matches up with yours. If not completely, at least she understands and she respects it and she's okay with that. Hey, I see me in your vision. I respect it. Definitely, let's move forward. If she doesn't see herself in your vision and it doesn't make sense to her, she doesn't like it, don't negotiate it. It's your vision and you have a right. I'm gonna make a video on that too, about your rights, but you have a right to have the vision that you want for your relationship or your marriage. Now, if you're already in a relationship or you're married, what do you think your goal is for your vision? That's right. What is your vision from now until the future? What does that vision look like? Sit down, talk to her. Once you figure it out, sit down, talk to her, share it with her, let her know like, hey, this is my vision for us. And I want you in my vision. I see us together. I see us doing this. I see us doing that. What do you think about it? What is your input? Do you have a vision as well? Because you have to include her in your vision, because if not, then it's like you're not together. You get what I'm saying? So that's important. Number 1 thing is just have a vision. With anything you do in life, you always want to have that vision first. The second thing, the second non-negotiable is your core values. What this means are, what are your core values that regardless of who you're with, regardless if you're in a relationship, if you're married, if you're with her or not, what are those core values that you won't break for anybody? What is the most important thing? Some men, their core values is, hey, I want to make sure that I marry a woman that is okay with staying home with the kids. That's a core value. I value family. I value a woman that raises our kids. That's a core value that I won't break for anybody. Some men have that core value. Other men have the core value that, hey, look, no matter what, I'm not going to change my career for you or anybody else. This is what I'm passionate about. This is what I'm good at. And this is a non-negotiable. This is a core value that I value my career choice. I value my career path. And other men, it's a little bit more internally. They value their integrity. They will not lie for anybody. They will not lie on anybody. They have a strong sense of integrity. And that's another core value. So you have to figure out what your core values are, understand what they are, and make sure it's visual. Make sure it's something that's more internal than external. It's okay to have external core values, but when it comes to the core, and that's why it's called core values, make sure it's something that really comes from within, that it really comes from within. Because you guessed it, if you don't have strong core values and she has strong core values, they will what? Override your core values. And you don't want that to happen, because that's how relationships go sour, because their values and their core values, they're stronger than yours because you don't have any, or you don't stand on them. So that's the second thing. Make sure you have core values and you stand on them. Now, the third thing, if you watched most of my videos, if not all of them, you know what that third non-negotiable is, and that's boundaries. Boundaries and standards, but boundaries. You have to make sure that you have a set of boundaries that you do not negotiate, you don't break for anybody, because once you have those boundaries established before you get into a relationship, if she agrees with it, the relationship can go on a good path because she understands it, she's agreeing with it. If she breaks them, then hey, guess what? You said you agree with this, we got to go our separate ways. But if you're already in a relationship and you don't have any boundaries, start developing those boundaries. Figure out what you don't like anymore. Figure out what you don't want to tolerate. Figure out what's important to you. But you have to make sure you don't just give a woman a shock effect. Like, hey, we've been together for 5-6 years. These are my boundaries now. If you break these boundaries, I'm gone. No, you got to explain to her the reasons why. Because you're already in a relationship. You didn't establish the boundaries when you guys first got together. So it is important and your responsibility as a man and a leader to explain why you want these boundaries in place. And understand, maybe she may not agree with it. Maybe her boundaries are a little bit stronger than yours. Or maybe she doesn't believe in boundaries. Maybe she says, hey, we got together this way. We're going to continue our relationship. We don't need boundaries because that wasn't important to you before. So why is it important to you now? That's on you to decide what you want to tell her and what you want to share to her because of why you want to establish these boundaries now. So it's very important. And for example, some guys, what they'll say is, I'm growing, I'm getting smarter, I'm getting wiser, and now I want to establish boundaries as we go on our journey together in this relationship or this marriage. Because things do change. People grow, people change, and that is another right as well. You have a right to establish boundaries, even if you've been with her for a while. That's a right that you have. That is a right that you have. However, make sure that you explain the reasons why and come to some type of agreement. It's very important. It's very important. And if she wants you to break those 3 non-negotiables, then the relationship doesn't go any further. It doesn't go any further. And you have to stand on that. As a man, you have to stand on that, because if you break any of those non-negotiables, if you say, okay, maybe this is too much and, I don't really need this, I don't really need that, and you're right, she's going to look at you as weak. She's going to look at you as weak, and she can't see you as the leader that is supposed to lead a relationship. A woman wants strength. She wants somebody that can say, hey, this is what it is. As long as you're not abusing, obviously, as long as you're not abusing and you're not running a dictatorship, then there's no issue. But you have to stand on those 3 non-negotiables because it shows strength. It shows that you have some type of direction as a man and you are a leader for her to follow.